Why was Captain America avoiding Thor? He owed him money. Thanks for stopping by Comic Book Editions Volume 249. In today's video, there's Marvel and DC. There's a comic book series that I'll complete. That's always a bunch of fun when I get to do that. And there's more than just comic books. There's comic book related merchandise plus gifts that I'm sharing today. It's going to be a fun time. I'm so glad that you're here, and it's going to start right meow. This is so clunky and hard to show, so I'll just give a quick little glimpse for proof of life that it's in the collection. So that is the Marvel Comics cover collage poster, measuring in at 24 by 36. This was a gift from my friend Brian. He and I were out comic hunting a little while ago, and I was looking at that and I said, doesn't that just look like me? Like all of the comic books that are shown on there are like my era of comic books and comic books that I love. And he's like, yeah, it does. And then lo and behold, he went and bought it for me. And when we walked up to the car, he's like, here's your poster. So that was a nice surprise. There's 36 different covers shown on this poster, which measures 24 by 36. Incidentally, the Marvel Spotlight cover, which is on the bottom, shows an altered image of the original cover. I was recently on the 1011 with Gary B., the Casual Comics guy, last week. And I was discussing how Marvel has licensed this image, but they've edited it a little bit to because originally Spider-Woman was completely hooded. But they've redone the image, or tweaked the image a little bit, I should say, to let her hair flow out so she looks more like the Spider-Woman Jessica Drew version that we're familiar with. And I actually like the little tweaked out version a little bit better, and that's the one that they included on the poster. So I'm okay, and I'm good with that. I know you're thinking that poster would look pretty awesome if it was up on your wall, right? I know that's what you're thinking. You're absolutely correct. Is it going to happen? Stay tuned. There's one thing I do know. You want posters on the wall, or something on the wall. I want 1,000 subscribers. And the road to 1K is gearing up for its final push because we're getting close to 950 subscribers. If you're not subscribed already, please take this opportunity to do so. Sharing this channel and this video with someone that might enjoy it is a great way to show support as well. If you're a returning friend, thank you for coming back and wanting to see what I've recently added into my collection. Your friendship and support truly is the reason that I'm doing this, or continue to keep doing this. I try never to take you for granted, and I'm so happy every time I get a comment, be it from someone that I know, or someone that comes back to watch over and over, or be it someone brand new. I do appreciate you, and I hope that you know that. I'll be asking for your comments at the end of today's video. I'd like to know what you thought about what I'm sharing in this video today. Let's continue on. How about an SDCC exclusive? I have wanted a Dazzler Funko Pop, specifically a Disco Dazzler Funko Pop, since I first heard of Funko Pops. And it took this long to finally get this, considering the licensing that Funko has, and there's been Funko Pops on almost everybody. It finally was Disco Dazzler's turn to get hers. San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, which was also available on Funko's website, which is where I ordered it from, and it didn't take long to get here at all. Next in my big wish list is Donna Troy, Wonder Girl, in the red jumpsuit. They haven't done, to my knowledge, a Donna Troy Funko Pop officially yet, and that's a huge oversight if you ask me. And if you're going to do a Donna Troy Pop, you have to do it in that classic red jumpsuit, because that is the bomb. But happy to have my Disco Dazzler Funko Pop in the collection. She has found her forever home and will be treasured and loved more than she can ever know. And since I'm talking Dazzler, let's slide on over outside of Marvel and DC for a second. Archie Is Mr Justice, issue number 3. I believe this was released earlier this year. And Dan Parent did an exclusive for comicbookexclusives.com. I had ordered from comicbookexclusives.com before, and you might remember in my Comic Book Editions Volume 232 video, I shared some of those that Dan Parent also did. There was Veronica as Wonder Woman and Betty as Power Girl. Well, this time around, Betty is cosplaying as Disco Dazzler. I just went on the site a few months back, and I thought, let's see what else let's see what they have, if there's anything new that they have. And I wasn't aware of this until I went on their site. And I said, yep, absolutely have to have this. It's limited to 250 copies. So at the time of recording this, there's still some available on the website if this floats your boat and something you want to be interested in. I'm not exactly familiar with the story that's going on inside with Archie Is Mr Justice. I need more of an Archie person, such as my friend Matt, Mr. Gretzky, 9966. Maybe he can fill me in on what's going on with this. But another treasure. I know he'll be happy just to know that I have another Archie comic book, even if it is for the Dazzler reason, into the collection. From the Bronze Age, Captain America issue 282 from Volume 1. We're at 1983. Mike Zeck is doing the cover and the interior art with John Beatty inks on both of those. This is the first appearance of Bucky as Nomad. And Bucky is not Bucky Barnes, it's Bucky, the Jack Monroe version of Bucky. And in my Comic Book Editions Volume 139, which was a couple years ago, I picked up issue 281, and I picked it up primarily because Spider-Woman was guest starring with Captain America, and it was such a good story. Loved that story. And it ended on a cliffhanger, and I'm like, well, I got to get the next issue. And obviously, a few years later, I finally have taken care of that. But this was disappointing because Spider-Woman's only like in a panel or a panel and a half or 2 panels or something. 2 panels like max. She's, she connects with Cap again. She's like, I've got something else going on. I'm not able to continue to help you out on this case. And that's it for Spider-Woman. So that was kind of a thumbs down and a bummer. I do have all of Spider-Woman's Volume 1 run, and I have her appearances before her Volume 1 run. So I'm just trying to pick up some of her other Bronze Age guest appearances that she made at this time. And I guess even though she's only in a panel, that this does qualify for that. The big bad villains in this issue continue to be, as they were in the previous issue, Madam Viper and the Constrictor. It is a good cover, though. For sure, I will say it's a good cover. I mentioned at the beginning of the video that I was going to complete a series. The series that I'm completing is Shanna The She-Devil. Here's issue number 5. I was at a comic book store that I normally don't go to in the same town where I pick up my current comic books. And for whatever reason, this day I just ventured over there. I was actually looking for something for Mr. Fridge Art. That's why I ventured over there. And while I was there, they do have a nice back issue selection. I always thought that the prices were a little bit higher than the condition. Like they charged the next grade up than what the book was really in the condition for, which is why I didn't always buy from them. I thought I'll look and see if they have any Shanna. It's probably not going to have any because I only need issue 5, which was the final issue. And lo and behold, it was the only issue of Shanna that they had. I paid $10 for it. I probably overpaid a little bit, but considering if I would have gone the eBay route with shipping, I probably came out ahead in the long run. This is a beautiful cover. It's John Romita. Steve Gerber is the writer, and then Ross Andrews doing the interior art for this story. It was in Comic Book Editions 237, and then more recently in Comic Book Editions 243. Earlier this year, I picked up I always have had Shanna The She-Devil issue 1 as a back issue from when I was a childhood collector. But I picked up 2, 3, and 4, which I showed in those previous videos earlier this year. And now I have 5, and the series is completed. First appearance of Necra. And I don't want to talk a whole lot about this story because I think we're going to do a special live. And I say we, that's going to include Silver Hair Bronze Age Babe. She and I are planning this out right now because we just did Rima the Jungle Girl, the complete series from DC on Fanboys Live in the Retro Review this past weekend. And Shabab and I were talking like, well, we should do like the Marvel equivalent of this, Shanna. But Fanboys Live in the Retro Review is strictly a DC comic show. So can't do it on there. And we thought, well, let's maybe plan our own live stream around that. So look for details probably on Instagram in the very near future of what we're planning to do to talk about Shanna. And while I'm talking about Fanboys Live in the Retro Review, the greatest DC comic show on YouTube, it's Sunday nights, 8:15 p.m. Eastern, 7:15 p.m. Central. So make plans to be there. If you saw the thumbnail, you might have been a little bit curious. What is this image that combines Marvel and DC? I had just gotten this. It is Elite Geek magazine, and it's issue 1. I haven't had a chance to page through it yet, but it's not a comic book. It definitely is in the comic book format. But it is a brand new magazine that has launched. So I'm excited to check this out myself. This is a Stadium Comics exclusive, and they made 199 copies of this, and it sold out like in the first weekend that they offered it. They also did a Spider-Gwen variant version of this, which was also an homage to Hulk 181 with Spider-Gwen, the White Fox, and the Black Cat. I am kind of a sucker for Hulk 181 homages. I think that they work. It doesn't matter what characters it is. It just works. It's an awesome layout. And I saw this, and with the 2 different franchises coming together and this being a first issue, I thought, yeah, I think this is something I want in my collection. So much so that I went and got a second copy of it as well. So one to hold on to and hopefully grow as an investment, which I don't do a lot of spec picking or investing, but I decided to do so this time around. And we'll see, the future and time will tell if it ends up paying off. But Batman versus Spidey, we got the Joker in the background, an article on the Punisher, and then inside there's an article about Bronze Age comic books, which of course is my jam. It's the reason I keep chugging along on those Bronze Age comic books. Having said that, I'm going to show you a Silver Age comic book. You know what this means? You know what this book means to me? You probably know that I am in the process of collecting Justice League of America Volume 1. I was down to 2 issues that I needed. This is one of the 2 that I needed. Justice League of America Volume 1, Issue 17. Originally in 1963, this came out. Mike Sekowsky and Murphy Anderson doing the cover and inking, respectively. Gardner Fox, the writer. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about this story because this will be the September issue that John's Comics with Friends and I will be covering in our JLA versus Avengers. Tornado Tyrant does appear in this issue essentially and wants to learn to become a champion after originally watching Adam Strange and then watching from afar the Justice League. So that's a little quick tease for it, but I'll go into more details with John when we cover that in September. 1 issue left in my JLA collecting. Issue 19, and it's completed. I can't believe it. I'm down to 1, and that's the issue I need. Funny enough, I have seen issue 19 out in the wild and had a chance to buy it in several different price points and ranges at different times. I just haven't for whatever reason, but it's the only one I need now. And I never knew what was going to be the final issue I needed, but now that question has been answered. It's going to be issue 19. Big Justice League member, Superman. And it's the summer of Superman. I have been collecting enough Superman comic books recently, even though just a couple weeks ago, I did a Superman Haul Part 1 and a Superman Haul Part 2. I still have enough comic books that I picked up just about the Man of Steel. Since the movie came out, I could probably do another all Superman haul. And who knows, maybe I will at some point, again, on my channel in the very near future. I know a lot of my friends are Superman fans and collectors. This is a deck of Superman trading cards that was gifted to me from my friend and coworker, Destiny. So thank you so much for thinking of me. There's some awesome images in here. Most of them lean a little bit heavier towards the new 52 version of Superman, but that's okay because that's when he was in a romance with Wonder Woman. But there are some other images from different eras and different timelines. There's even a couple Bronze Age images in there as well, including one from a Justice League book that I really like. So thank you, Destiny, for thinking of me. And I really enjoyed that. I was very surprised the day you gave it to me, and I really enjoyed it. And I thank you so much for your friendship and for adding this into my collection. Speaking of Superman, I want to close out this video with some Dollar Tree comic books that I found. Superman and Wonder Woman, Volume 1, Issue 1. Originally, this came out in 2013. I say this because these are brand new printings that have just been done that you can find at Dollar Tree for $1.25. And you know that they're new printings because they have different advertisements on the inside and on the back cover as well. Obviously, I haven't opened these up to enjoy yet. Superman and Wonder Woman was a series that I talked about recently in Comic Book Editions Volume 246, which was one of those all Superman haul videos. And I talked about how I love this first issue, and I do. I think that this first issue is just fantastic, but I disliked the rest of the series immensely. I almost gave up collecting it. As a matter of fact, at one point, I'm like, I just am not getting enjoyment out of this. And I was about to pull the plug, and then I read that they were going to cancel the series, so I thought, well, just complete it. There's only a few issues left, so that's what I did. Tony S. Daniels on cover and interior art, Charles Soule, the writer for this. I kept going with my Dollar Tree purchases. This was just an impulse. Multiversus Collision Detected, issue number 1. This was 2024 originally came out, so I was kind of surprised to see the Dollar Tree had this already. Awesome Dan Mora cover. Brian C. Miller, the writer for this. I don't know a whole lot about this, but it looks fun. I know it's tied into, I think, a video game, if I'm not mistaken. You can tell that this is also new printing because underneath the DC logo on the original, there was like information like the issue number and stuff too that this doesn't have. This is the first Steven Universe in comic books since the cancellation of Boom Studios' Steven Universe title in 2020. So got brought back here. Dollar Tree, this is the second wave of comic books that they had done. Earlier this year, I think it was earlier this year. No, it might have been right at the end of last year or the beginning of this year. They did their first wave, their initial one, and people were wondering if they were going to keep it up and keep going with it. And obviously the answer to that was yes. This new wave of Dollar Tree comic books, you know, of course I'm looking for Wonder Woman. That's my jam, what I'm looking for. Really, the Superman Wonder Woman was the only like headlining title that she was in. They didn't choose any comic book of her own. And these aren't the easiest thing to find because like I have 2 Dollar Trees in the town I live in, and neither one of them has ever had any of these comic books. I found this completely as a fluke when there's a Dollar Tree next to my LCS, which is in a complete different town, which is a haul to get to, which is why I don't go every week. But I walked in there looking to see if they had them. Didn't see it, found some other stuff, went to check out, and that's where I found them. I'm like, oh, they do have some comic books. So this was actually the first one I picked up, Teen Titans Year 1, Issue 1, originally from 2008. Carl Hershey, I believe is his name, with the cover and interior art. Amy Wolfman is the writer. So they redo the Titans origin in this issue. There's even a cameo from the Flips, who the Titans encountered in Showcase 59. Definitely an early Teen Titans appearance. And in this issue, you'll also find out that Robin's direct message, his DM handle, is Boy Wonder 07. So you'll learn some stuff by reading this issue of Teen Titans Year 1. And then, to wrap up today's Comic Book Editions 249 video, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, issue number 1. Of course, we've got the theatrical version of this coming next year. Not look up, look out. Got our first tease of Supergirl in Superman Legacy movie. I said this on Fanboys recently, and Shabab agreed with me too. I think Millie Aycock, who's going to be playing Supergirl, I think she looks like LeAnn Rimes. Can you see that? I easily see that. So Tom King, the writer of this, I have actually never read this. And I'm definitely going to read it. And I'm sure next year when we get much closer to the movie in the summer, we'll probably do a retro review on that. I mean, I'm looking way far out in the future for that. But I thought it was just fun to pick up for $1.50 and potentially a good investment purpose since it's another printing of it and probably not a high printing. So I got a second copy as well. So 2 copies of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. The Dollar Tree exclusive is going to wrap up Comic Book Editions Volume 249. What did you think of what I shared today? Leave me a comment and let me know because I would love to know. Your comments are welcomed, encouraged, and appreciated. Are you looking for any of these comic books? Do you have any of these comic books? We can dialogue about all of this or any of the characters I showed today. How about a Dazzler Funko Pop? That needs to be in your collection, right? How about a poster? I mean, let's talk about everything. Any series that you just completed or about to complete? I mean, today I completed Shanna The She-Devil, and now I'm one away from completing Volume 1 of Justice League of America. Still blows my mind. Let's dialogue about all of that. Yesterday, I dropped my back issue of the week YouTube short, so check that out on my channel. It's a DC comic out of my collection that I'm discussing this week as the back issue of the week. I've already mentioned Fanboys Live in the Retro Review. Last week, I was on the 1011 show as a guest and as a co-host. That's archived in the collaborations folder, playlist folder here on my channel as well. Thank you, Gary B. Casual Comics Guy, for inviting me on that and for being a guest on Fanboys Live in the Retro Review with our Rima the Jungle Girl review this past weekend. You made it to the end of Comic Book Editions Volume 249. Here's what's coming up, or at least what I'm kind of thinking of for the channel in the future. I want to do an X-Men haul at some point because it's been a little while since I did that. But my next video would be 250. So I got to see if I can come up with something maybe a little bit more extra special for that. And I really kind of enjoyed doing an upgrades video that I did recently after talking about it forever, so maybe I'll do a volume 2 of that. So that's just kind of the stuff that I have floating around in my mind, and you'll definitely see some autograph stuff coming up. Maybe that might even be the 250 video for our next video. We'll see. But look for all of that coming to the channel soon. Thank you so much for making it to the end of today's video. Have a happy, healthy, and safe week. I look forward to getting to visit with you again soon, and until then, take care. Okay. Fingers crossed, let's try our best.